Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Racing Rundown. My name is Aidan Molinaro, horse racing analyst. I'm here with Liam Molinaro, racetrack announcer, and we are going to be breaking down the weekend's two biggest Kentucky Derby prep races, including the Wood Memorial at Aqueduct Racetrack and the Santa Anita Derby at Santa Anita Park in Southern California. Liam, let's just dive right into it here with the analysis. Let's start off with the Wood Memorial for folks. And folks, this year it's a 12-horse field, so it's a big race, pretty kind of difficult to handicap. There's a lot of different angles you could go to. I think this is going to be a situation where pace makes the race. Liam, why don't you just start us off, and what do you think?
Yeah, we got the Wood Memorial, 750,000, goes as race 12. Tomorrow is part of Aqueduct's 13-race card. Just to get right into it, I'm looking at the number 7, Grande, on top for me for Rapoli Stable and Todd Pletcher. The thing I like about this 3-year-old son of Curlin is both of his first two career races were routes, and he won them rather impressively, and he's stalked off the pace, and I think that's kind of the trip he's going to get again tomorrow in the Wood. I think the number 1 Rodriguez is the pace presence for Bob Baffert, and I think the reason people are going to be attracted to Rodriguez is because his only career win where he broke the maiden, he made the lead and just drew off. He won by 7. He turned it back 100 Beyer figure. Everyone kind of freaked out after that performance. Like, is this one of Baffert's best 3-year-olds? He hasn't really run that great in a couple graded stakes after that. But no, I think Grande is going to get a perfect stocking trip in here. Dylan Davis comes up to ride. We know he had a great year at Aqueduct last year. He's been riding the championship meet at Gulfstream this winter. For second, I looked to the number 2, Captain Cook. I loved his performance in the Withers. Similar, he's kind of a stalking horse. He turned back a 94 Beyer in that performance. And I like that he's one of the local horses in this field. He's not shipping. He's training locally. A lot of these horses are coming from Florida or California. So I like Captain Cook in that regard. Manny Franco has the ride from post 2. He's 7-2 on the morning line. Then I looked at the number 6, Hill Road, for third. I like this horse. A lot of people like this horse because he had that fast closing third in the Breeders' Cup where horses like East Avenue and Chancellor McPatrick weren't closing into that pace. Citizen Bowl just went wire to wire. Hill Road was the one horse that was actually closing from the back. He ran third at 61-1 that day. Transfers to the barn of Chad Brown. He made his season debut in the Tampa Bay Derby. I think him and Chancellor McPatrick both weren't really fully cranked that day. He still ran third. He ran a good race behind Owen Almighty. I think he's going to be closing late in this race. I do think Rodriguez has a big shot. In a field of 12 on the lead, and he's shipping all the way across the country, I'm going to take a stand against him. I just think he's going to be too short of a price. So I went Grande over Captain Cook over Hill Road. I went 7-2-6 in the Wood. What do you think, Aidan?
Okay, well, I understand the Grande look too a little bit. I mean, obviously he's done nothing wrong in 2 starts. It's just always that question, like, you break your maiden, you can win an allowance race. Now, can you step it up in the final round of Derby preps, which is usually these 100-point prep races.
Sure.
So that is the question. I mean, we've seen some Pletchers do it, some Rapolis do it in the past. I mean, we saw Disruptor in Florida last week. He wasn't able to make that jump. Not saying that Grande can't, and obviously Disruptor kind of got I think a bad start in that race too. He came out a little slow and then kind of got squeezed going in the first turn. But obviously Gulfstream Park is a unique setup. I know you were taking a stand against Rodriguez, and I see all those concerns, but I am ultimately going to put him on top. The reasons being is I just think Rodriguez is coming out of the best races. First and foremost, obviously running against Journalism, Barnes, Citizen Bull, all the buzz horses so far, and he gets out away from his stablemates, doesn't have to run against any other Bafferts. He can run his own race now. New jockey Mike Smith, never ridden him before, but we know Mike likes to shake and bake. And he's breaking from the 1 hole, so out of a 12-horse field. So even though the blinkers are coming off, I feel like the strategy is going to be to go to the front with Rodriguez. And as we always seem to see on these Derby trails with these Derby horses, is that the Baffert horses seem to always be the fittest. Again, I totally hear your concerns. He's shipping across the country. I just think he might be too talented for this group. So look for Rodriguez. If he can make the lead, if he goes onto the backside and say he's a length or 2 in front, I think it's good night. I don't even care if the first fraction is 46 and change. I think he'll keep going. With that being said, there are a lot of nice closers in here in case Rodriguez does take a lot of pace pressure and say the pace kind of melts down. I like Hill Road. You mentioned him, the number 6 horse. Obviously goes out for Chad Brown, and he was up against it, like you said, with Owen Almighty setting the pace at Tampa that day. Obviously Hill Road and Chancer McPatrick behind him, and they were kind of at the mercy of the pace setup that day, and it didn't go their way. So I definitely wouldn't hold that against them. Hill Road was the only one closing in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, following all those Bafferts that kind of went around there in a carousel type of race that day. It was obviously speed favoring again. So I think the reason why in the Wood, I think they'll need some sort of pace meltdown to be a win candidate. But with that being said, I'm putting Hill Road as my second choice behind Rodriguez there. And then the 8 horse Passion Rules. I feel like this horse is one that hasn't really been talked about at all on the Derby Trail, yet has really famous connections. Calumet Farm, the owner, Brad Cox, the trainer, some big name connections here with Passion Rules. He's 3 for 3 lifetime. However, was sold at the sale in October 2023 for $40,000. So that could be a reason as to why he's not getting as much hype as some others here. He's undefeated. Another reason maybe he's not getting all the hype is that his buyers are sort of low compared to his peers in this 3-year-old crop. Last 3 buyers being 71, 79, and 78 respectively. I just think Passion Rules is one of those that could come flying at a big number. His morning line is 12-1, but I see him being much more north of that number. So look for Passion Rules to be picking up the pieces late. Again, if it does melt down, I don't necessarily think it will. I think Rodriguez can make the lead and go on with it. But if the pace does melt down, that's why I have these 2 horses underneath, Hill Road and Passion Rules. So the 1 Rodriguez over the 6 Hill Road for me, over the 8 Passion Rules in the Wood, Liam.
Yeah, one thing I do want to mention is the number 2 Captain Cook. He kind of had an excuse first time out, and the thing I like about him is subsequently his 2 next starts, he hasn't run on Lasix, and he's shown that he can win stakes races. The number 7 Grande hasn't shown that. He's had Lasix his first 2 starts, and he ships up to New York. I'm going to take on a shot on Grande just because I think he's going to be a higher price, and I'm going to take the upside. I think Captain Cook's going to be kind of that short second price near Rodriguez, but I think it's those 2 definitely for me, with Rodriguez having a big shot as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, and I like that you pointed out the Lasix point with Grande, and obviously he's a Pletcher trainee, and sometimes we see Pletcher and trainers like that, they have horses that are used to running on Lasix, and then they come running the Breeders' Cup, and they sort of take a decline, or they drop off in their form in their first Breeders' Cup race. So that's just something to look for as a bettor, as a handicapper, and you guys out there playing the races tomorrow. Definitely a great point brought up by Liam there. What do you say we now kick it to the West Coast, Liam, move on to Southern California and the Santa Anita Derby?
All right, yeah, we got the Santa Anita Derby. It goes as race number 10 as part of Santa Anita's card tomorrow, 500,000 going a mile and an eighth. I know there's been a lot of talk about the 5-horse field here, but I really do think it is quality over quantity here. It is reduced Derby points as well because only 5 horses will start. 75 to the winner, 37.5 for second, 18.75 to the third place horse. Barnes is going to need at least a second to get in the Derby field. Beza and Westwood will have to win. Citizen Bowl and Journalism are both comfortably in the top 20, but they obviously want a good performance to get them to Kentucky in 4 weeks. Getting into the Santa Anita Derby, obviously I'm looking at the number 1 Journalism. His San Felipe was just so visually impressive, man. Him running down Barnes, who I think everyone on the backstretch thought Barnes was gone. He was 2-5, got an easy lead, threw up some easy fractions. But Journalism, just with those huge strides, just came and ran him down. And the number backs it up. You got 108 buyer for that performance. The number 2 Citizen Bowl is a 2-year-old champ. Everyone knows him. He's going to be on the lead. That's what he loves to do. It's going to take a tough horse to run him down, but if anyone can do it, I think it's going to be Journalism. I think Journalism's going to love the 9 furlongs. This horse looks like he can run all day. And then I went to the number 4 Barnes for third. I just think he's going to outclass Beza and Westwood for third. Beza's an interesting horse. The damn Puka produced the 2023 Derby winner Mage and the 2024 Belmont winner in Dornoch. So Beza's going to be looking to add to that classic list. I just think this horse is a little outclassed in here, but he's definitely one who could get better later in his career. But ultimately for me, it's Journalism over Citizen Bowl over Barnes and the Santa Anita Derby.
No, I definitely agree with a lot of the points you made right there, Liam. I was there in person with you to see journalism win the San Felipe. Definitely visually impressive. Just seeing him walk out of the walking ring, he seems like he kind of has that factor. Like it looks like he's going to be a legitimate Triple Crown, type of race candidate, Kentucky Derby classic distance horse, 3-year-old that anybody would want in their barn. Obviously, the great breeding. He's out of that nice mare Mopatism Doug O'Neill used to campaign. He's got that big stride. Like you said, that huge buyer number. Everyone, that kind of brought him national attention. When he ran down Barnes with no excuse, that definitely got all the news media, all the eyes directed to journalism. And kind of a funny story, I was kind of touting him 2 weeks up to the San Felipe, and not to say like I knew what was going to happen before everyone else did, but then I hopped off him at the last minute, and I definitely, just to say, if Michael McCarthy's watching the Racing Rundown out there, I'm not going to hop off that bandwagon anymore. I'm on the journalism train now, and I'm sticking on it. I have him over Citizen Bull as my second choice. Just like you said, I can't pick anyone over Citizen Bull to run second because I just think this race is going to set up perfectly for him again. Yet again, I think he's going to get a nice, easy lead as the only other pace pressure, it seems like, in the race is Barnes. So train by the same train, obviously, Bob Baffert. It's going to be kind of a jockey's race, especially with these short fields. But like you said, quality over quantity. Not worried about the quality in here. This renewal of the Santa Anita Derby. Journalism over the 2-year-old champ Citizen Bull for me. And then I have Westwood as my third choice. This is where I'm kind of throwing this horse in to try to provide some value. And I think he can provide value for the bettors out there and for you handicappers looking to handicap this short field. Westwood 20-1 on the morning line. I think he's going to be farther north of that number. Last time out, a nice second place finish behind another nice Baffert runner by the name of Voldemort, and he was in tight, had to steady it at the 7/8 pole and the 3/4. So had a lot of trouble in there. He's had a lot of trouble in all three of his lifetime starts. A $700,000 purchase at the Keeneland September sale. He's by Authentic out of an Indian Charlie mare. Maybe a little bit of distance concerns, but I like his running style. Look for Westwood to be coming late. He already ran a nice third behind Baeza, who's also in here. Also behind Mellencamp, another Baffert trainee. So look for Westwood to be picking up the pieces late here in the Santa Anita Derby. I think he can make your trifectas pay, guys. Liam, what do you think? So it's going to be journalism over Citizen Bull over Westwood for me to try to make those tries and try boxes pay.
Yeah, I think one of the more interesting storylines in this 5-horse field is just is Baeza and Westwood, can they mess up the trifecta of the two Bafferts in journalism?
Right.
Obviously, everyone thinks is going to be, the trifecta box. Can Baeza and Westwood get in there for third at a price? We'll see. And Baeza, they paid $1.2 million for the horse. Westwood, they paid $700,000. So there are big expectations with these horses, and so we'll see what they're really made of tomorrow, and if they can keep improving as their 3-year-old season goes on.
Most definitely. It should be a great day of racing across the country, West Coast, East Coast. Obviously, we have Keeneland pushing back their meet to during the week, obviously, with the real bad weather going on there right now. Push back to Tuesday, the Bluegrass Stakes. Make sure to tune in on Monday, as we will have the Racing Rundown Monday episode for you to cover the Bluegrass and go over that race. Both myself and Liam will be on the show that day to break it down for you as well. That's another key prep. There's a lot of really good contenders for the Derby going in there as well. Some intriguing storylines, River Times, East Avenue, see if he can bounce back after two really dismal performances, as he was everyone's favorite last fall. He was one of the favorites in the wagering for the early Derby future wagers. So look out for East Avenue and that prep coming at you on Tuesday, and then our show will be on Monday. So definitely watch out for that. Thank you, everybody. Good luck this weekend. Liam, you want to leave them with anything?
All right, cash some tickets.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and catch us on the next episode of Racing Rundown. We'll leave all our socials down below. Definitely check out the description. And like Liam said, cash those tickets.